Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Literati Club 23. Before starting with the topic, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and press the notification bell. Now let's get started. So today we are going to study about William Shakespeare. William Shakespeare is also known as National Poet of England. He was also popularly called as Bard of Avon. इनका जो टाइमलाइन है वो 1564 से 1616 तक का है. As he was born on April 23rd, 1564, at Stratford-on-Avon, which is the name of his birthplace. His father was John Shakespeare and his mother's name was Mary Arden. Shakespeare wrote 39 plays and 154 sonnets. Now, it is important to remember that the collected edition of his work is called First Folio and it was published in 1623. So, the first play that Shakespeare wrote was Henry VI, and his last play was The Two Noble Kinsmen. लेकिन ये एक अनफिनिश्ड प्ले थी. द लास्ट प्ले जिसको कि हम एक फिनिश्ड प्ले कह सकते हैं, इट वॉज द टेम्पेस्ट. His most performed play was Midsummer Night's Dream. His spouse was Anne Hathaway, and together they had 3 children, Susanna, Judith, and Hamnet. सुजाना इनकी सबसे बड़ी बेटी थी और उसके बाद इन्हें 2 ट्विन्स हुए थे, जूडिथ और हैमनेट. But Hamnet died at the age of 11 years. Finally, he died on 23rd April 1616. Now, it is also very important to remember that he was born on 23rd April and he died on that same day. और ये क्वेश्चन बहुत बार आता है नेट के एग्ज़ाम में या और किसी टीचिंग एग्ज़ाम में. So remember that. Now, one of the most important things to remember is that Shakespeare wrote his own epitaph. Now, what is an epitaph? So this epitaph, it is a piece of writing which is usually written in memory of a dead person. And it is usually in the form of an inscription, which is usually written on the tombstone. Okay. So, what he wrote was that, "Good friend, for Jesus' sake, forbear to dig the dust enclosed here. Blessed be the man that spares these stones, and cursed be that man that moves my bones." Now, William Shakespeare wrote his own epitaph on his grave. Like he wrote it before dying and then it was inscribed on his tombstone. Now, let's talk about the major works of William Shakespeare. Shakespeare has written a total of 39 plays, out of which 37 were completed, and it was published in the first folio, as I already told you, in 1623 AD. He has written 154 sonnets, which was written around 1609, and long narrative poems, which were 2 in number, which was written around 1593 to 94. Now, his plays, the first folio, 1623, were published by his co workers, John Hemmings and Henry Condell. Now, these 36 plays, Mr. William Shakespeare's comedies, histories, and tragedies have been divided. 14 were comedy, 10 were histories, and 12 were tragedies. Now, there is also exception which were not included in the first folio, which includes Pericles, Prince the Tyre, The Two Noble Kinsmen, Cardenio, and Love's Labour's Win. So these 2 plays, Cardenio and Love Labour's Win, they were lost plays of William Shakespeare. Like they were written around a time and then they got lost. Shakespeare has also written a lot of plays in collaboration, which includes Timon of Athens, which was in collaboration with Thomas Middleton. There's Pericles, which was written along with George Wilkins, and The Two Noble Kinsmen, which was written in collaboration with John Fletcher. अब ये जो फर्स्ट फोलियो है, it has been dedicated to William Herbert, who was the third Earl of Pembroke. Along with him, it was also dedicated to Philip Herbert, who was the fourth Earl of Pembroke. Ben Jonson wrote the preface to the first folio, in which he has written, Shakespeare is not of an age, but of all times. Now let's talk about the histories of William Shakespeare. In total, he has written 10 histories, which includes Henry IV Part 1, Henry IV Part 2, Henry V, Henry VI Part 1, and Henry VI Part 2. Now, this Henry VI is the first play to be ever written by William Shakespeare. Then comes Henry VI Part 3, Henry VIII, King John, Richard II, Richard III. Now, the sources of these history plays have been from Holinshen's Chronicles, which was written around 1577 by Raphael Holinshen. After that, let's talk about the great tragedies of William Shakespeare, which includes Hamlet, the tragedy of Hamlet, Prince of Denmark, Othello, the tragedy of Othello, Moor of Venice, King Lear, and Macbeth. Now, Hamlet is one of the longest plays ever written by William Shakespeare. He has also written many Roman plays, and its source is from Plutarch, which includes Julius Caesar, Antony and Cleopatra, Coriolanus, and Titus Andronicus. Now, this play, Titus Andronicus, was one of his first tragedies, and it was in collaboration with George Peele. Now, let's talk about his comedies, which has been further divided into early comedies and his mature comedies. So, among his early comedies, first he used to write immature comedies. The Comedy of Errors, which is one of the shortest plays, has been written during that time. After that, Love's Labour's Lost, then Two Gentlemen of Verona. Among his mature comedies include Much Ado About Nothing, Twelfth Night, or What You Will, which was published in 1601, The Merchant of Venice, and As You Like It. Now, he's written tragicomedies as well, जिनको कि हम romances भी कह सकते हैं. So, among them comes Tempest, which was written in 1611, और ये one of the last comedies है जो कि which was completely finished, जो कि William Shakespeare ने लिखी थी. Apart from that, other tragicomedies are Cymbeline, King of Britain, Winter's Tale, and Pericles, Prince of Tyre. Now let's talk about the sonnets of William Shakespeare. He has written 154 sonnets in total, and it was published in 1609. There are 154 sonnets followed by a long poem called A Lover's Complaint. Now 126 out of those 154 sonnets have been dedicated to a young man. It has been dedicated to W.H., which people think कि ये Earl of Pembroke के लिए dedicated है. But there's no specific proof for that. And the rest, 28, have been addressed to a dark lady. Now, what are sonnets? Sonnets are poems consisting of 14 lines, and its rhyming scheme is AB, AB, CD, CD, EF, EF, and GG. So, these sonnets consists of 3 quatrains, and 1 couplet. So 3 quatrains as in stanza with 4 lines, 1 quatrain, 2nd quatrain, and 3rd quatrain. And the last couplet, which consists of 2 lines. These are 4 lines. Okay. Now, Shakespeare has also written long narrative poems as well, which are 2 in number. First is Venus and Adonis, which was written around 1593, and second one is Rape of Lucrece, which was written around 1594. First published work was inspired by Metamorphoses by Ovid, who was a Latin poet. And the rhyming scheme of Venus and Adonis stanza is AB AB CC. Now, these long narrative poems have been dedicated to his patron. So these patrons are those people जो कि sponsor करते थे poets को उस time पे to write poetry and songs and plays etc. उनके जो patron थे उस time पे Henry Wriothesley, who was the third Earl of Southampton. So he used to be his patron to whom these long narrative poems were dedicated. So that's it for today's class. I hope you enjoyed it. Please subscribe to my channel, Literati Club 23. Hope to see you in next video.